horse girls! That is right, Umamusume has finally made its debut here in the West and has made quite a splash, proving, much to Kentucky's tourism industry's joy, that the American people still love the tradition of horse racing. It's a very primal joy. I don't know what it is, but it's great. And with a family from Louisville, the Kentucky Derby and horse racing has been a part of my life for as long as I can remember. Again, it's very important to Kentucky's tourism industry, along with something else we're gonna get into quite a bit of. And so when this game dropped, I got very excited. So much so has all of this been a part of my life that this video is really kind of an extended version of a short that I've already made. And now that we have more time and you have more context, I would like to take this moment to expand upon the fact that I did call Umamusume sponsoring a derby race. I have been saying for years that Umamusume needed to come out here and sponsor the Kentucky Derby. I tweeted this idea again, and they announced it the next day. Now we want to get technical with it, which I'm sure nobody who's watching this does. They did sponsor an Oaks Day race, which is the day before Derby, not a Derby Day race. Also, Oaks Day is pink. That was a coincidence. I just wanted to wear this shirt. All of that to say that this video is actually kind of a personal one because it's everything I've grown up around. Because horse racing in America has always been intrinsically tied to one very important American art form and pastime, cocktails. What do you think this channel is? I make cocktails. Of course it was gonna be cocktails. Actually, here's another off-the-cuff thing for you. The term cocktail comes from a horse-related term. The drink cocktail would perk you up, much in the way that certain horse owners would put things like ginger up a horse's, which in turn would make the horse a lot more lively for good reason, and also perk their tail up in the way that a rooster's does. And so it was kind of a scam thing to do to make your older horse look a lot more lively and young so that you could sell it off to someone else for a good price. And getting drunk does that to you, hence cocktail. Which is a good transition into, I'm sorry, I kind of lied to you. This video is about the official cocktails of the American Triple Crown. Because it being America, us having invented cocktails, and loving horse races, and loving drinking while watching horse races, of course, each race ended up with its own official cocktail. And for those of you who don't know what the Triple Crown is, you're learning a lot about horses tonight. Every major horse racing country has its Triple Crown. In America, it is the Kentucky Derby, the Preakness Stakes, and the Belmont Stakes, and for a horse to win all three is considered one of the greatest achievements. And so yes, this video is a little more of a history lesson on the official cocktails of the American Triple Crown, which I think is very fascinating, but I run a cocktail channel, so. And yeah, I kind of clickbaited you with the Umamusume thing, but if you stick around to the very end, I promise to tell you an amazing story about an American racehorse that is very important to your anime girls. Plus, mijo no Bourbon. That's the horse girl that's out right now, and Bourbon, that's an American thing. There's your first connection. Please just stick around. I promise this is interesting. If you like Umamusume, I have bad news for you. You do just like horse racing. It's very much almost the exact same thing, including the gambling. God, it is so hot down here. It is a good thing that all three of these drinks were made for outdoor events in the summer because I need something to cool me down really badly right now. So without further ado, let us drink our cocktail Triple Crown. The first step of the Triple Crown is, of course, the Kentucky Derby, with a drink that has become synonymous with the event, the mint julep. Also, you're gonna have to forgive me. I ended up doing quite a bit of research for this and writing down a good bit. So if you see me glance down here a lot, it's because this is where all of my notes are. Anyways, the term julep for centuries was used for medicines. However, as Americans began inventing this burgeoning art form, we started humorously, or sometimes seriously, referring to our boozed up concoctions as wholesome remedies as well. And so naturally, I'm gonna put this in front of me. That's just gonna sit there. I'm sorry. And so naturally, the julep got wrapped up in this as well by the fine folks of Virginia and became much more of a proper drink with the addition of mint. Originally made with rum before transitioning into primarily a cognac drink, it inevitably made the switch to American whiskey, and obviously we have not looked back since. Meanwhile, in the 1820s, horse tracks would begin giving out silver julep cups as trophies to the winning jockeys, which would permanently tie together two of Kentucky's biggest industries, horse racing and bourbon. As for the Kentucky Derby itself, the drink was likely served right from the beginning in 1875, as it was still very much in vogue by then. However, the first bit of lore that really tied the two together came 2 years later when a famous Polish actress, Helena Majeska, who while attending was reportedly passed a julep meant to be big enough to share amongst the entire group, and she decided to just drink the entire thing herself, and then order a second one. Now that's my kind of lady. And while the history from there is a little more vague, and we know the julep started to fall out of fashion in the early 20th century, we do know that it was synonymous enough with Churchill Downs and the Kentucky Derby that with the start of Prohibition in 1920, several journalists lamented the fact that they would not be able to enjoy the mint julep while watching the races. And after Prohibition, it clearly made a big comeback at the track and became the official cocktail of the Kentucky Derby and Churchill Downs in 1939, and still remains so today, making the mint julep not only the oldest cocktail we are making today, but also the longest standing cocktail of the bunch. And if you're wondering why I'm spending so long on these history bits, it's because, as you're about to see, these drinks are not very complicated. In fact, the mint julep is the one that I made in the aforementioned short, which is like a minute long, and probably less than half of that is me actually making the drink. You can and should build this drink in the glass. I'm just not doing it in the julep cup so that you can see what I'm doing. We're gonna start with about 4 or 5 mint leaves, and then just a 1/4 ounce of simple syrup. This is a very small drink. We are going to muddle the mint in that syrup. Remember to press, not twist. You don't want to rip up the mint. And then 2 ounces of bourbon. Yes, Old Forester is the official bourbon used by the Kentucky Derby, unless you're paying for the apparently $1,000 mint julep that they have, in which case you're going to get a kind of Woodford Reserve. But both are owned by Brown-Forman, and I'm going to be honest with you, the mint julep is not a good enough drink to get much more than Old Forester. Transfer that into my julep cup. A mint julep is served with crushed ice. Don't worry, I haven't started drinking yet. By the way, yes, my cup does say Steve on it. It's my dad's, it's not mine. I'm gonna go ahead and fill this up. Finally, we're gonna garnish it with a sprig of mint. And there you have your mint julep. That's a mint julep. Okay. It tastes like mint bourbon. I don't know what else to tell you. If that sounds appealing to you, make a mint julep. It is a classic for a reason. It's not terrible, but if you're from Louisville, you're probably sick of them. Everybody in Louisville is not drinking mint juleps every day. You are hard pressed to hear the name outside of Derby week. It is very much a touristy drink at this point. Maybe there's one person, I highly doubt it. Maybe you'll have 1 or 2 as a festive thing at a Derby party. It's not a mainstay for a reason though. Mixology has come a long way since the mint julep. In that same regard, if you want something very simple and very classic, it's not a displeasing drink. It's just not an exciting one either. It just tastes like mint bourbon with a little bit of sweetness. It's hard to tell you tasting notes of more or less a 2-ingredient drink. You know what? I want to try something. Now that's a cocktail right there. Also more or less in the classical sense, because the cocktail was a bittered sling, which meant a sling with bitters in it, and a julep is a sling with mint in it, so this is now literally a cocktail because there is bitters in it. See, now the Angostura is like really throwing in a nice wrench of, I'm kind of mostly tasting Angostura now. Which is fine by me. Maybe my 3 dashes was a little much, but I like Angostura. Really, there's not much else to say about this. It is a historical classic. The fact that this drink still exists is pretty much exclusively due to the Kentucky Derby, and I'm not gonna say I want to see it die. It's a fine drink. I just don't know if too many people would miss it. It is worth mentioning that Churchill Downs does have a second, newer official cocktail for Oaks Day called the Lily. I cannot remember exactly what is in it off the top of my head, but it's basically a Cosmo, if we're being really honest. So hey, if you want to see a follow-up where I make that as well as a few other things I mentioned later in this video, let me know down below. Hey, thank you so much for watching this video so far. I hope you're enjoying it. I'm at the end where I am very pleased with everything that I've made. They're all really delicious. But I would like to remind you to please not forget to like, comment, subscribe, do all of the YouTube things. Share this video with everybody you know who loves Umamusume, who loves horse racing, who loves cocktail history, who loves gambling. I guess that's tied into horse racing, so we're gonna say that. And if you're really enjoying it, please consider becoming a member where you will get access to early videos, exclusive videos, extended videos, all of my stream VODs, as well as the SteveSekai cocktail guide, which has just about every drink that I've made on the channel, as well as a few that I've made off. It's just a much easier way to find the cocktails I've made for yourself, especially because they include directions, notes, improvements, corrections. I try very hard to make the membership worth your while, so please consider doing so. And if you can't, again, that's fine. Just liking, commenting, subscribing, and sharing are very much appreciated and very much helpful. I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. I'm just gonna let you watch it now. Bye-bye! Now, before we get into this next drink, it is important to know that each one of these races famously drapes the winning horse in a specific flower. For the Kentucky Derby, it is roses. For the Belmont Stakes, it is the white carnation. And for Maryland's Preakness Stakes, held at Pimlico Racecourse in Baltimore, it is our next drink's namesake, the Black-Eyed Susan. Now, there are a few problems trying to trace the provenance of the Black-Eyed Susan, because the drink tends to change recipes regularly based on who's sponsoring it. However, the drink is generally considered to have been made in 1973 by the track's caterer, Harry Stevens, when he wanted the Preakness Stakes to have a signature cocktail much like the other two did. Generally, most recipes I found consider this more of an elevated twist on the screwdriver, including both vodka and either bourbon or rum, but even that varies, as the official recipe that you can find on Pimlico's website was made by Finlandia Vodka, and in their recipe they omit the second liquor entirely, opting instead for Saint Germain, which is an herbal liqueur, which would probably change the flavor profile of that drink quite a bit. Meanwhile, other recipes I found call for peach schnapps or orange liqueur, and so here's a little version of my own, combining everything I found into a simpler version. We are going to start with getting my vodka out, also getting ice. 1 ounce of vodka, followed by 1 ounce of bourbon. Because as I said, if you are trying to make a truly Americana cocktail, it better have bourbon or rye in it. We are then going to do, because I didn't want to make sour mix, you can make your own sour mix and do 3 ounces of sour mix. 1 ounce of simple syrup, 1 ounce of lemon juice, half an ounce of lime juice, and finally, because we said this was a take on a screwdriver, 2 ounces of orange juice. Give it a shake. And then you have your Black-Eyed Susan, and that's about as an official recipe as they're gonna give you, so... Oh my god. Oh, that's really good. Uh-oh. It is citrusy delight. It tastes like Sunny D. That's what it tastes like. It's not full orange juice, it's not real orange juice, but it's mostly orange with this extra sour sweetness in there. Wow! Well, that's a really good drink. Preakness Stakes, I don't know why you ditched the bourbon. You don't taste a lot of it, but it's adding that level of depth in there that's really, really helping out the orange juice keep its profile and hold on against the lime and the lemon and the vodka, because the vodka, it's not adding flavor, it's just adding shallowness, and the lime and the lemon are adding that sourness that also attributes to a very shallow flavor. And so it comes down to the simple and the orange and the bourbon to do the opposite, to hold the depth in it, and that just balances out into an extremely delightful beverage. I've lied to you. I can taste the bourbon, and I like it. Whether you use rum or bourbon or rye, any of the three is kind of a matter of preference. I love bourbon, so it's just enough of that kind of peanutty part of the Knob Creek. I think I saw somewhere that it was officially Knob Creek. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if I'm just misremembering it. I just wanted a bottle of Knob Creek. I haven't had bourbon in my house recently, and it's been upsetting. And I'm not about to drink fucking Old Forester on its own. I'm shitting on Old Forester a lot in this video. I just don't want to drink Old Forester by itself. I'm sorry. Is that gonna lose me a Brown Foreman sponsorship? Maybe. Do I care that much? Not really. I haven't even had a full drink. Goddamn. That's a lot nicer now that all the ice is melted. But... oh, don't do those back to back. Oh, I forgot about the thing where they say don't brush your teeth and then drink orange juice. Thank God there were so many other things in that it kept it from being horrendously revolting. That came close. Oh no. Anyways, that is a brutally efficient drink. Just sweet enough that it's gonna be widely appealing. You could drink 10 of them and never know the difference. I think I said this about the Project Melody. The idea of getting hot drunk, where you've had so much to drink and it's hot outside, and you didn't realize how much you've had to drink until you stand up. That's what that's gonna do. And I think that's kind of the idea, because it's a racetrack drink. What really shines is that orange juice with the sour mix that makes a wonderfully, deliciously citrusy, sweet punch in the face. No, it's not a punch, it's a slap, because it's crisp. And that's also way more aggressive than the drink actually does to you. It's like drinking Sunny D with that nice bourbon note at the end. I really kind of nailed it right at the start. I think if you were one of those people, and I know that there are a lot of you out there, because I talk to a lot of you at Off-Kai, who say, oh, I just like something so sweet that I don't know that there's alcohol in there. I'm sorry I'm making fun of you with that voice. The alcohol's moving fast tonight. It is so hot in here, then this is your transition drink. This is something that you should make so that you learn not to be afraid of a different liquor. That bourbon is not scary. In fact, it's pretty gosh darn sweet, just in a way that you're not used to yet. And in here, it's gonna teach you that. It's gonna teach you that bourbon accentuates and works really well with sweet flavors because it is sweet. And if you want to ease your way into it, this is the way to do it. Have it in something that has your accessible alcohol in it with a lot of the nice sweeteners that you love, and just that hint of bourbon at the bottom of the flavor so that you are lulled into that nice state that you are used to, and then slowly transition into very much that bourbon profile, but without it becoming so strong that it's gonna turn you off. And goddamn, the Preakness Stakes, they know what they're doing. I really like this. I'm probably gonna make it like this from now on, but there's like 20 other Black Eyed Susan recipes out there at this point, so find the one that works for you and for your Umamusume viewing party. I'm gonna stick to this one. Finally, the oldest of our races, but most certainly not the oldest of our drinks, is the crown jewel of the Triple Crown, the Belmont Stakes. Inaugurated in 1867 and run at Belmont Park in New York, if Pimlico's problem was their lack of consistency with their single official cocktail, Belmont's problem is the lack of consistency with what the official cocktail even is. Supposedly, the original official cocktail was the Belmont Park, a rum drink which might have existed in the 1890s, but was definitely in a cocktail recipe guide which somehow found a way around the Volstead Act and was published in the 1920s. This was then followed very briefly by the Big Apple, which barely lasted a year in 1975. After that came the White Carnation, an orange dreamsicle inspired vodka drink that, quite honestly, sounds completely perfect to me because orange creamsicle is my favorite flavor ever. So please help this video do well so that I have an excuse to make that in the future. Thank you in advance. But the White Carnation was replaced in 97 by the Belmont Breeze by none other than the king of cocktails himself, Dale DeGroff, the man credited with the American cocktail revival, so technically the very reason that you're watching this video right now. Going from an airy sweetness with vodka, peach, orange, and cream, but in 2011 Belmont decided to switch it up again with an easily batchable and widely accessible drink for their attendees, and replace the Breeze with the Belmont Jewel in collaboration with Woodford Reserve. And if all of that history wasn't enough, it took a lot of digging to find a website that even bothered mentioning the Belmont Park or the Big Apple. Most barely even mention the White Carnation, including recipe pages for the White Carnation itself, only saying it came before the Belmont Breeze, and that's it. They don't tell you a year, they don't tell you who had made it, they just say it was the White Carnation, and then in 97, Dale DeGroff made the Belmont Breeze. Who made the other one? Who made the ones before that? Who made the Belmont Jewel? I don't know. That just speaks to how important Dale is, I guess. And apparently, I could have made an entire video just on Belmont Stakes drinks, and it would be longer than this one. And so, for the sake of this video, we are going to stick with the Belmont Jewel because A, it is the current one, and B, it has 3 ingredients. And after all of that talking, I don't really want to make a drink that's going to take me another 10 minutes at the very least to film. It's very hot down here, and I'm a little tipsy by now. And then we're going to talk about that horse. Don't think I forgot. Alright, the Belmont Jewel includes 1.5 ounces of bourbon, 2 ounces of lemonade, and finally, 1 ounce of pomegranate juice. That's it. That's the drink. Well, I mean, we gotta shake it, but like, speaking of, I gotta go get ice. Spill a lot more on your bar mats. We're gonna garnish it with an orange peel. And there you have your Belmont Jewel. Whoa. Ooh, wow. That's very different. That's delicious. For a 3-ingredient drink, that is probably the wildest one I've had. Despite having the least amount in there, the pomegranate juice, kind of unsurprisingly, dominates the flavor right at the start. Pomegranate juice is strong, and it's very clear when it comes through. Then the lemonade pulls it in, makes it very sweet, and provides this upper layer to the entire experience that then, wait, no. I'm having trouble figuring out if it's the bourbon or the pomegranate first, and then vice versa at the end. Oh, that's so fascinating. It hurts my soul to say that the Kentucky Derby was the least of the 3 that we've made tonight. I didn't expect this to be all that interesting, being bourbon, lemonade, and pomegranate juice, but that is something else. Is it my favorite? Ooh, maybe. If I wasn't drunk, Probably. If you put all three of these in front of me at the same exact time, I'd probably say this one. That is the most unique, which is shocking to say. Again, I feel so weird admitting that, but there is the most interesting series of flavors in this one, even though there's only 3. How much of this is the Woodford? Hold on. It is the secret that is tying the lemonade and the pomegranate together throughout the rest of the drink. You take this sip, and these two are there, and they are clear. You're telling what is the lemonade pulling up and what is the pomegranate pulling down, but what they're pulling, you don't see as the Woodford until you hit that finish and both flavors start to converge into that Woodford middle note. And it's weird to ever call bourbon a middle note. But goddamn, pomegranate's about as rich as chocolate. Belmont, oh my god. This is very easy to throw together. You can put this in a big pitcher like I said. It is 1.5 to 1. Done. But despite that, from a flavor standpoint, it's fucking astonishing how interesting it becomes. It is accessible enough to be widely appealing, but fascinating enough to draw in a pretentious piece of shit like me. Shit, look how much pomegranate juice I fucking have. I might make this all the goddamn time. The crown jewel for a reason. That is a shocker. If I had to say make one of the drinks from this video, it might be that one. It is by far the easiest to make. It is what everybody who's too lazy to make it drink at home wants. It is 3 fucking ingredients. It is extraordinarily simple ratios. There's no excuse for you not to make this. Do you have to get Woodford Reserve? Probably not. This is a slightly expensive bourbon for the average person. I don't think it's gonna change it that much. That's the Triple Crown right there, baby. Mint Julep, I poured it out. I was done with it. Black Eyed Susan and the Belmont Jewel. For the love of God, I need to finish up this video before I cook to death. So, without further ado, let me tell you the story of a little horse named Sunday Silence. Sunday Silence was a horse born here in Kentucky in 1986. He was born with hocks that nearly touched a terrible temper and so weak that he nearly died of a freak intestinal virus after several veterinarians had given up on him for recovering so slowly. Miraculously, he recovered and was sent to California to be auctioned off, but there were no bidders, and so the breeder had to buy him back. On the way back to Kentucky, however, the driver of the truck had a heart attack and crashed, killing every horse in the trailer except Sunday. Sunday Silence somehow didn't suffer any major injuries and was able to make a full recovery and make his debut as a racehorse against all odds and predictions. He then went on to win 6 G1 races, including the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness Stakes, only barely missing out on the Triple Crown by losing to his rival Easy Goer in the Belmont Stakes. His final record was 9 wins in 14 races by the time he retired in 1990. And despite his incredibly impressive record, only 2 people applied to breed with him due to his rather unimpressive bloodline. That is until a Japanese breeder approached Sunday's owner about buying him in a move that was widely ridiculed and mocked by other American breeders. And so why do I tell this story about an American racehorse that just barely missed out on the Triple Crown? Well, that's because Sunday Silence's progeny have become so dominant in Japan that a whopping soon-to-be 41 Umamusume girls are based on his direct children and grandchildren, including, but not limited to, Special Week and Silent Suzuka, aka 2 of the 3 main characters of the series, Manhattan Cafe, Daiwa Scarlet, Agnes Tachyon, and the upcoming in Japan Stay Gold, which also means Gold Ship. Yes, that's Gold Ship. As well as, and I can't remember if they're in the game or not because I'm a little drunk and I also forgot to write it down, the only father and son duo to take Japan's Triple Crown. And so if you make one of these drinks, I implore you to raise a glass to Sunday Silence, the horse that bit into fate. And that's the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it because I find the history of cocktails very fascinating and I would love to do more of this. I would love to do the other drinks that I mentioned but did not make. I'm sorry if you came here for Umamusume. I swear to God, that is what inspired the video. It just rapidly went off of the rails. I do hope that you learned something though, if you bothered to stick around this long. If you did enjoy this though, please let me know down below because I do do really enjoy this history stuff. I find it very fascinating, and I would love to share it with you, but I know that a lot of people are here for the themed stuff. If I can slowly bait you all into learning about cocktail history, I will keep taking that chance. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. Because learning is fun. And hey, if you want to see me make cocktails based on the girls, please let me know down below. I think that'd be pretty fun. And if you know of any official cocktails for Japanese racetracks, please let me know as well. I would be more than happy to explore your ideas. And one last time, thank you again so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to all of the YouTube things, and become a member if you can. But if you can't, again, that's fine. Just liking, commenting, subscribing, and sharing are all very helpful and very much appreciated. I toast one last time to Sunday silence. What an inspiration.